The river flowed gently under the soft light of dawn. Ripples danced upon its surface, whispering secrets to the morning breeze. Buddha sat beneath a great tree, his robes draped in golden serenity. Disciples gathered, their eyes filled with questions unspoken. Among them, one sat troubled, his heart weighed by uncertainty. His name was Ananda, a seeker of wisdom and peace. Buddha observed his unease, his gaze deep as the endless sky. "Ananda," he called, his voice steady as the earth. Rahula, the youngest among them, shifted uneasily. "Master, why do you not speak?" "We have come seeking wisdom," he finally asked. Buddha smiled, patient as the tides that shape the shore. Fear arises when the mind clings to illusions of permanence. Ananda furrowed his brow, seeking meaning in the words. "But Master, is it not natural to desire stability and certainty?" Buddha reached for a small stone, holding it in his palm. "Tell me, Ananda, does this stone resist the flow of the river?" Ananda studied the stone, its edges worn smooth by time. "No, Master," he said, "the river moves around it without struggle." Buddha nodded, his expression like the quiet after rain. "Life is much the same, ever changing, flowing without pause." The river carried leaves upon its back. Surrendering to its journey, you must learn to move with life, not against it. Ananda sighed, shifting as doubt pressed against his thoughts. "Master, if all is uncertain, how does one find peace?" Buddha traced a pattern in the dust, his movements deliberate. "Peace is not found in control but in acceptance of the unknown." A bird soared above them, its wings slicing through the sky. "Look at the bird, Ananda. Does it fear the shifting wind?" Ananda watched the creature glide, effortless against the breeze. "No, Master, it rides the wind, trusting its path." Buddha's voice was gentle as the rustling leaves. "Trust, Ananda, does not require certainty, only openness to the present." The river continued its journey, unfazed by obstacles in its way. Do not fight uncertainty, let it guide you to deeper understanding. Ananda listened, letting the words settle like mist upon the valley. "But Master, what if suffering comes? How does one endure?" Buddha placed the stone upon the earth, releasing it without hesitation. The same is true of the restless mind. It cannot see. Suffering teaches patience, strength, and wisdom if you welcome its lessons. The disciples watched, absorbed by the teachings unfolding before them. Do not reject life's hardships. They bring clarity where doubt once stood. Ananda inhaled deeply, allowing his thoughts to unravel. "And fear, Master? How does one calm its voice?" Buddha gestured toward the sky, where clouds drifted in silence. "Fear is like these clouds, shifting but never permanent." A gust of wind pushed the clouds apart, revealing the clear moon. Truth remains even when hidden. Fear is only the passing shadow. Ananda bowed his head, feeling the weight of his worries lighten. "Master, I begin to see, yet my heart still clings to doubt." Buddha chuckled softly, his laughter like ripples upon the water. "Doubt is a teacher, not an enemy. Let it lead you to wisdom." The river whispered its endless song, carrying dreams upon its tide. One who embraces uncertainty walks freely without chains of the past. Ananda gazed at the water, his reflection merging with its flow. Then, "Master, I shall learn to move as the river does." Buddha smiled, folding his hands in quiet gratitude. "You are already learning, Ananda. The journey has begun." The disciples sat in silence, the morning stretching before them. Birds called to the dawn, their voices light as drifting petals. The river continued onward, its path unknown yet untroubled. So too, the disciples walked, carrying wisdom upon their hearts. Their footsteps echoed against the earth, leaving no trace behind. The sky embraced the rising sun, a promise of new beginnings. Thus, They followed the teachings, surrendering to the flow of life. Another day, another lesson unfolded beneath the shade of the great Bodhi tree. The disciples gathered, their minds open to wisdom. Buddha sat in silence, his presence steady like the mountain enduring the wind. Before him lay an empty alms bowl. He lifted the bowl, turning it in his hands with quiet reverence. "Tell me," he said, "is this emptiness a burden?" The disciples exchanged glances, pondering the question given to them. One spoke, his voice uncertain, "Master, without food, the bowl serves no purpose." Buddha nodded, the corners of his lips forming the faintest smile. "And yet, without emptiness, how could it ever hold anything?" Silence settled among them, the weight of the words taking root. Buddha placed the bowl upon the earth, letting its presence speak. He gestured toward the trees, their branches swaying with the gentle morning breeze. "Does the tree resist the changing seasons?" "Number, Master," a disciple answered, eyes following the movement of leaves. "It sheds what no longer serves it and welcomes the new." Buddha folded his hands, his gaze steady. "So too must you learn to empty yourselves, to release what binds you." The sound of rustling leaves intertwined with his words, carrying their meaning to waiting minds. "You fear uncertainty because you fear the absence of control." A bird landed upon the bowl, its tiny feet tapping against the polished surface. If the bowl were always full, would it welcome nourishment? The disciples watched, realization flickering within them like the first light of dawn. "No, Master," one spoke, "its fullness would prevent anything new from entering." Buddha lifted his eyes to the vast sky above. To hold on to certainty is to deny the space where wisdom may settle. Ananda, the disciple with many questions, shifted forward. "Master, how do we learn to embrace the unknown without fear?" Buddha traced a pattern in the earth, his fingers moving with effortless grace. "Look within." "Ananda, what are you afraid to release?" Ananda exhaled, searching the depths of his mind. "I fear losing what I understand, what gives me comfort." Buddha nodded, his tone gentle. "Comfort is a fleeting illusion, much like the shifting clouds in the sky." A breeze passed through them, carrying petals upon its wings. "If you wish to grow, you must welcome the space of uncertainty." The disciples sat still, absorbing the wisdom placed before them. "Master, should we abandon all certainty?" one asked. Buddha chuckled softly, the sound weaving into the morning air. "No, certainty has its place, but it must not become your cage." The bowl remained empty, waiting to be filled. Just as this bowl welcomes nourishment, so must your heart welcome change. A lone traveler approached, bearing offerings from the village beyond. Buddha accepted the gift, placing it into the waiting bowl. "See now," he said, holding the filled bowl. Its emptiness allowed it to receive, transforming absence into abundance. The disciples bowed, minds expanding with newfound understanding. "Master, does this mean that uncertainty itself is a form of wisdom?" Buddha's eyes gleamed like stars reflected upon the water. "Wisdom is the embrace of what is unknown, not the rejection of it." The river murmured in the distance, its voice steady yet always shifting. "Be like the river, carrying forward without resistance to change." Ananda smiled faintly, feeling the weight of his thoughts lighten. Then, "Master, I shall learn to welcome emptiness." Buddha placed the bowl before them, its presence speaking without words. In emptiness, there is space for clarity, growth, and peace. The disciples bowed in gratitude, the lesson resting within their hearts. The sun rose higher, casting warmth upon their skin. The river continued its endless song, unburdened by what lay ahead. So too did the disciples walk, carrying the teaching within their souls. Another day, another lesson unfolded beneath the vast sky. The disciples sat in quiet reflection, their hearts open to wisdom's embrace. The moon hung above, its light steady despite the drifting clouds. Buddha watched the sky, his presence calm as the deep ocean. A disciple spoke, his voice trembling with uncertainty. Master, in moments of hardship, how do we trust what we cannot see? Buddha pointed toward the moon, half covered by wisps of cloud. Tell me, has the moon vanished, or is it only obscured? The disciple gazed upward, eyes tracing the silver glow. It remains, Master, though hidden for a time. Buddha smiled, his voice as gentle as the evening breeze. Truth, like the moon, is never lost, only concealed by passing doubts. The wind shifted, moving the clouds with effortless grace. Hardships are temporary veils, they do not erase what is eternal. Another disciple leaned forward, curiosity flickering in his expression. Master, what if uncertainty lasts longer than we expect? Buddha gathered a handful of earth, letting the grains slip through his fingers. Time does not measure wisdom. Wisdom is found in patience. A lone lantern flickered in the temple, casting golden light upon the stone. Even in darkness, a flame remains a flame, waiting to be seen. The disciples listened, their thoughts stirred by the quiet strength in his words. Then, Master, how do we move forward without fear? Buddha traced a slow circle upon the ground, his movements deliberate. Do not resist the unknown. Move as the moon moves through the night. Ananda, thoughtful as ever, spoke with hesitation. Master, does that mean we should simply wait for clarity? Buddha shook his head, his laughter soft like ripples upon a lake. Waiting without action is surrender. You must step forward, even when unsure. The clouds parted, revealing the full radiance of the moon. Walk as the moon walks, knowing its light never truly fades. A bird called from the trees, its voice steady against the shifting wind. One who trusts the path does not demand certainty before taking a step. The disciples breathed in the night air, letting its cool embrace still their minds. Master, does this mean uncertainty is necessary? Buddha lifted a single fallen leaf, turning it within his hand. Without change, the seasons would never come. Without uncertainty, growth would never begin. The leaf danced in the wind, carried toward the river beyond. Be like this leaf, surrendering to the movement of life. A disciple lowered his gaze, deep in thought. Master, what if we are afraid of where life leads? Buddha placed the leaf upon the earth, releasing it without hesitation. Fear is the weight that keeps you from moving. Let it go, and you will find freedom. The disciples absorbed the teaching, their silence a reflection of understanding. Master, will uncertainty ever cease? Buddha closed his eyes, listening to the rhythm of the night. No, for life itself is uncertain. That is its nature and its beauty. The moon continued its journey across the sky, undisturbed by the passage of time. To resist change is to fight the river. To embrace it is to find peace. Ananda exhaled, his mind lighter than before. Then, Master, I shall walk forward, even when I do not know the way. Buddha opened his eyes, warmth in his gaze. That is wisdom, Ananda. You have already taken the first step. The disciples bowed in gratitude, carrying the lesson in their hearts. The night stretched on, silent yet alive with movement. The moon remained, its glow untouched by passing clouds. Thus, the disciples walked, trusting in the unseen path ahead. How do I begin? Buddha closed his eyes briefly. Begin by being present. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.